Here we go. Joey Porter Jr. and George Pickens going off at each other. That's the primary conversation of this episode, as well as a little bit of sad news revolving the secondary overall that we need to discuss. But let's start with the drill itself. It's a one-on-one passing drill that is actually designed to make the offense look good. No doubt about that. But as we watch the play again here, one important thing needs to be noted. As the rep is going, obviously there's no pass rush. Obviously, there's no safety help over the top. And you see Porter do a lot of great things here. First, the jam, the pressure that's with him, blanketing the whole sideline. This is a rep that is designed to be set up for the offense, and Porter is there in the entire perfect position. The fact that Pickens has to make an elite snag like that is a testament to how well Joey Porter is doing in the coverage. And to that point, this is one of the things that coming out of his camp, I am afraid of it. It's showing itself a little bit here. He's handsy throughout it. And this is unfortunately like Major League Baseball. Sometimes that pitch on the edge is a strike. Sometimes it's a ball. Who's to say, except for the day-to-day ref? We get someone who's calling it high and tight. That could be defensive holding. We get him letting him play. That's just good old-fashioned football. Part of the reason fans are hating the NFL right now. But that's a fact of life. But looking at this from the physical mentality, Porter's doing everything great and amazing. And it is going to be really hard to throw on him. Later on in that practice, he also snagged away a pick off Trubisky. But basically in this camp, everyone's picked off Trubisky. But the fact is, he's getting hands and showing it. And diving into what we're actually seeing from Pickens here, when you see going up making the snag, it's a testament in how you can see a fact that we try to illustrate throughout the season. He brings in balls that really should not be caught. He brings in 10% more completion rate than is statistically probable for the quality of passes he's received. The only other players, only 5 other players done this in NFL history. Randy Moss and Adams are on that list, 2 of the best ever. And this is something that we need to love about Pickens. Now, getting up and firing the intensity, I love that even more. I love that as a big accomplishment for what's going on in the training camp itself overall. Iron sharpens iron. And yes, is it a way to fire everyone up? Hell yeah. Everything about yesterday's practice was that. It was the first day they were in pads and they were firing off. On the line or on the lineman offset drills where they're doing the pass protection, they were having people go 2 and 3 times in a row because of the battles they were having. And Dan Moore looked very good in it, and so did Broderick. That battle's spicing up, and I'm sure we'll have more footage of that going on. But staying on point here, when we look at the ball, it was thrown by obviously Pickett from the first scene here that we show here. But when we look at it, it's put in a spot where only George can get it. And Pickens puts himself in a body position there that makes it so Porter can't do anything. And let's face it, one of the joys of Porter is his freakishly huge size with the ability to play the cornerback position. And Pickens boxes him out like it's Shaq going up against Mutombo. Like, you're not blocking this, baby. I'm making this play happen. And imagine what he's going to do against the little guys we have to face. Like, you think Darren Waller from Cleveland, who's supposedly one of the best corners in the NFL, is going to be able to handle that? There is no doubt in my mind Pickens should be the number 1 targeted player on this team. Because Deontay can't do that. Deontay's afraid of contact. Every time you watch him, it's a fact. But Pickens is what the Steelers are going to embrace. He is showing not only does he not afraid of contact, he's playing through it. There's a lot of NFL receivers that would have just basically take that rep out and said, I got flagged and walked it off. Go watch any Patriot from like 2001 until today. It's what they do. So when we look at the fact here, he's playing through contact. He's using his body to block him out. And he's bringing in the great hands to show it. George Pickens should be the number 1 target on this team without a doubt because of just another proof of this. And I want to highlight one other element because I get that there's this notion of saying, hey, Joe, it's only one play. Da, 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 da. In training camp, you only get 3 to 5 reps doing each drill per day. In fact, Porter was only out there for 4 of them. And this is a fact as a rookie when they get extras. So the point is, your time is so limited for what you need to accomplish it. Wasting a single rep destroys it. Remember, they're only out there for a grand total of 2 to 2.5 hours, and that counts all the special teams and the transitions between drills time. It is incredibly limited options to do on-field training to develop yourself, which is why I'm going to discuss in a future episode how Canada is ruining this, but that's a different episode for a different day. In today's episode, we're talking about these two great guys. And I want to show this again here with how awesome we're looking at Porter here. And when we see the breakdown of he gets beat over the top. Sure. He's in great position and still loses. Immediately thereafter, they fired up and did this rep again, and it just was uneventful and no one filmed it, which I'm a little upset with people out there. Come on. But at any rate, the point is Tomlin immediately fires it up. And you see right there the coach get in Porter to calm him down and take it. And this is the thing that's going to keep building and building. These guys are going to be going up against each other for at least another 5 years. So when we look at this overall, it is a great battle and a great iron sharpening iron. And there's so many spots on this team that we're getting leadership on leadership that is building things better and better. The rep of Chooks and TJ yesterday was an example of that. Because after Herbig did his off rep and blew up one of the younger tackles, he immediately goes to TJ and learns better. Well, with Porter, as soon as he got done, he went to Peterson. This is the Steelers' way. Yes, they're competing for jobs, but they're learning to become better. And they're fighting for their units, which is what you want. You want the offense to be able to support itself and be together. And the fact that this is everything that the Steelers are fighting for. First off, it's a drill. There's no pressure on him, but Kenny's putting the ball downfield in a spot where his guy can catch it, and a spot where, quite frankly, only George Pickens could have made him catch that. You can make an argument that it was a poorly thrown ball, but Pickens made it great. This is a team that is in great spot. Because to that point of why it looks like it's a poorly thrown ball, it's because of the coverage of Porter. If that's any other corner that's at normal height, it's a great ball. Like, there's no way. Like, Porter just catches it with 2 hands over his head, doesn't do anything dramatic. Or, correction, Pickens catches it over his head without doing anything dramatic. But because it's Porter, it needs to be so much stronger and more elite and perfect. And it's a lot because of his size, which unfortunately gets me into the sad note that I did want to cover in today's episode. Trice goes off on a cart, and anytime you go off in the back of a cart, it's a very bad sign, especially when you already have a history of lower body injuries to that leg. Earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week at this point, Burrow goes down. I say it's probably looking bad for the rest of his training camp, but it's not season ending. And I'm getting all kinds of people complaining to me, oh, his coach said it was nothing. His coach said it was nothing. You keep looking at the updates from Cincinnati, it's creeping longer and longer. And now it's 2 to 4 weeks on their update. The coaches don't need to tell the truth about injuries at this point in the season. It's a fact. So if you're the head coach of the Bengals, you don't tell your entire team and fan base, we're screwed the first day of practice. Likewise, Tomlin has no incentive to do that. However, Trice is a 7th round pick. So there's no point in sugarcoating anything because he's not the franchise and all that other fun stuff. However, from the vantage point of Trice, I'm going to present that it's a benefit for him to get placed upon the IR. I have a twofold reason for this. First is he's already coming off of an injury-related Purdue career. It's a fact. So giving him more time to physically heal before the rush of the combine and the job interview probably is good for him. Second, it's going to be very hard to crack this team, period. And giving him essentially a go to get into the next season, similar to what Calvin Austin had last year, could only help him. Being around, seeing the training. Because even if he becomes healthy around week 3, like Austin did last year, he still gets to be a de facto guy in the building, learning and being with the team and learning how the NFL culture is supposed to be. I believe that will tremendously help Calvin Austin this year when push comes to shove. So I do believe it's in the best interest for Trice to take the IR slot. If the Steelers obviously give it to him, he doesn't have a choice. But I think it would be the best for his long-term career. The other element that I want to discuss that's at this point a little bit concerned is KZ. I mean, obviously they're nursing him. They're trying to keep him all healthy for that. But there is some pressure coming up his backside as far as we're getting development from other players. And KZ was hurt last year. And this is a way to really say, we got you penciled in as the starter based upon roster construction, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily reliable for the long term. And this is the difference between KZ and Trice in this conversation. Trice is a rookie. There's no history behind him. All the tread is on his tires moving forward. At least that's the belief based upon his age. KZ's on his second team already, and we're looking at this going around that it's like, maybe this isn't someone we can build around, and maybe one of these young guys we should start looking to do deeper. It's a thing. So overall, it's an absolutely beautiful play. It's a beautiful rep. These guys are going to keep sharpening people and making them better and better. I would like to thank both Warren Sharp and Ari for disseminating these across Twitter and getting them into a bigger universe to be seen. Thank you guys very much for being with us here today on Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, and Steelers Nation. We'll be with you again tomorrow.